How to increase your confidence in choosing the future partner. This is one of the most common questions I receive from my clients as well as audiences who are mainly professional, successful, and ambitious women who want to have a loving, lasting, and beautiful relationship. So if you somehow experience a painful relationship breakup in the past, or you experience heartbreaks, it's so easy to lose confidence from yourself because you was the one making those decisions. You was the one chewing your access, right? And brought yourself to those situations. And even, for some people they experience divorce. It's very painful, very hard. So it's easy to lose confidence. But the key in here is how can you build back your confidence? Because at the end of the day, I strongly believe we all want to be loved and appreciated for who we are. And we want to share this beautiful journey with somebody that we can trust, somebody that we share the same vision, and somebody also want to have a loving, lasting, and beautiful relationship to build that life with you. If this is the first time you visit my channel, my name is Annangantran. I am the relationship and transformational coach. I empower and support professional, ambitious, and successful women to have a loving, lasting, and committed relationship and also thrive in their career. So if you looking for a loving relationship, please share some love, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe my YouTube channel. And now let's dive into the practical tools and how can you use those practical tools and increase your confidence in choosing your future partner. One of the common mistakes that I see from professional women when they experience heartbreaks or some form of, painful relationship breakup, that they don't taking the time to look at themselves in the mirror and take inventory on how did they show up. Because let's be honest, if you experience relationship breakups or heartbreaks, right? One of the common theme in those series, in those relationships, you are the main character. So it's so easy to point a finger on your ex or your exes and blame on them. It's easy to do that. But unless you really want to have transformation, you want to have change, and you want to have a different outcome, you need to be very honest with yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, and be honest. How did you show up? What part of you contribute for those outcomes? And now if you no longer want those outcomes, what would you need to change? Or what would you do differently to have a different outcome? So in this exercise, I normally walk my client through to use different tools to be aware about your strategy in the relationship. So the question is, how to be really honest with yourself? Because say, okay, I can be honest with myself, but how do I do it, right? What sort of questions I can ask myself to be aware so that I can make some changes. So what we're going to do together is we're going to use the acronym CARE. So CARE C stands for check. Don't worry about the meaning of those because I'm going to cover later on. C stands for check. A stands for access. R stands for rate. And E stands for examine. Now, let's look closer to each of those elements. So first of all, check. C stands for check. What I mean by that is to really check in with your past relationship, to be aware about what worked well, and what didn't work. Because you were there, you were in those relationships, possibly for the reasons. So there's some elements, some aspects in those relationships work well. So you just need to be honest with yourself and find out, what worked well in those relationships and be diligent, work one by one relationship to find out what worked well and what didn't work. Because what I noticed from many people and even from my own personal experience is there was many red flags in the past relationships, but we kind of ignore or choose to ignore until it's no longer sustained, it's no longer work, right? If somebody, let's say, they don't want to commit in the marriage, or, in my past relationship, if you heard my story before, you know that I'm experiencing a wedding cancellation. And the red flag that I ignore or try to ignore or avoid many times, that I want to have a beautiful, loving family. I want to have a marriage. Versus my ex, I'm not sure whether he really want to get married. He want to have a committed relationship, but I'm not sure if he ever want to have marriage, or if he ever want to have children. And that misalignments in value create a lot of disagreements, a lot of conflicts, a lot of headaches. So you want to know, in the past relationships, what didn't work for you? What are the main red flags that you ignore, right? And that hurt you, that that was the main reason causing the relationship breakup. So be honest with yourself and find out what worked and what didn't work in the past relationship. And having those information gonna helping you to have insights, to have informations and understanding to make a better decision in the future. Now, the second step is to access. A stand for access. And I want you to access to at least 3 biggest lessons in the past relationship or relationships, right? Because you possibly experience more than one relationships. So what are the 3 biggest lessons that you learned from the past relationships? And the reason for that, every single relationship come and go for different reasons. And some people come through our life for for a seasons. They just meant to come for us, for a seasons. And when they fulfill their mission, I strongly believe the universe send a different teachers that helping us to learn certain lessons. And when they fulfill those lessons, and when they deliver those lessons and we learn and fulfill and grow, that relationship meant to be ended. So that is my philosophy. And by reframing my belief about the past relationship is really helping me to embrace those experiences without any resistance, without any kind of resentment or upset why the relationship ended that way. Because as I strongly believe, my exes are the secret teachers that universe given to me, and for them to deliver certain messages, certain lessons that I meant to learn, to grow, and to be ready for my husband. So what are your 3 biggest lessons? And I want to share with you mine, because I want you also to share your lessons in the comment below, because in a way that lessons are very valuable. So when you share the lesson to someone, you can help somebody as well. So let me share with you my lessons, and that could be very helpful to you to take into consideration. So lesson number 1 is to understand values and choose someone that align with my values. The reason I'm saying that, because one of the main reasons for many relationship breakups is either your values are misaligned, or you no longer align in your values, because we are evolving and we are changing, right? So for me, I didn't know about my values. I didn't really taking the time to understand values and choose someone based on the value alignments. And that was one of the key reasons that the relationship was ended, because I value the marriage versus my ex. I'm not sure if that's something he valued. And the second lesson for me is either we're gonna win, or we're gonna lose together. So what do I mean by that? In the past, in some arguments, like I didn't have the maturity to be aware that if I even try to be right and put my ex down and, make him feel like he's wrong, I'm losing as well, right? So there were no benefit now for me. There's no benefit for me to be right and make my husband be wrong. Because for me, now I'm aware either we're gonna win together or we're gonna lose together. And both couple and the couple are the servant in the relationship. So imagine the relationship is an umbrella and the two servants, myself and my husband, and could be you and your future partner or your current partner, are the servants to that relationship. So any discussions, decisions, and changes need to serve the relationship, right? So when you use a relationship as an umbrella, as an agency for you to make decision, everything's going to be so much easier for you, because even in the moment you feel very angry, very upset, you really be able to have awareness and taking the step back to realize, if I say this, if I'm gonna make my husband or my partner feel bad, is it something helping me? Is it something helping the relationship or not? And having that conscious awareness is very, very valuable. So that's my second lessons. And my third lessons, because I want to have a beautiful, loving marriage and family. So instead of just choosing someone and then try to make it work, I would choose someone who want to be a good husband, who want to be a father, right? So the reason for that, because is we can inspire and influence others, but we cannot force another person to change, and especially that your partner, right? And many times that as women, we want to change our partner, or we enter the relationship with the hope, these flaws, I can swallow these flags, red flags, because I know that I can change him later. That is a wrong approach, because it's gonna take you a lot of work to do that. And if you ever success, you force another person to change, they might temporarily change to make you happy, but in the long run, they're gonna return back to their instinct, their true essence of who they are. And at the end of the day, guys, ladies, we want who everyone want to be loved and appreciated for who they are, right? So you want to choose someone who have the same aspirations, inspired by your vision in the relationship, for me to have a beautiful, loving marriage. And for you, possibly you want to have marriage, or you just want to have a committed, loving relationship. So choose someone who in alignment with your vision, who aspire and want to be a loving partner, who want to have a loving, committed relationship. By doing so, any kind of disagreements or any conversations, you can bring that back to the vision and the umbrella of the relationship, because you both are the servant for that relationship, if that makes sense. If that makes sense to you, please share in the comment below, because those are for me an absolutely transformation or big realization I have after went through the relationship, after went through the wedding cancellation, which was very painful for me to learn those lessons. And I do not hope that you experience that. But hey, the universe have a different way for us to grow and evolve. And if that the way meant for me to learn those lessons, then I'm very grateful. So that A. Moving on, R stand for rate. So the purpose of rate or rating is to helping you assess your compatibility with your future partners. And in order to do that, you want to understand your motive, because sometimes we do things and we're not conscious about our actions and our strategies. So I want you to evaluate, right, or rate in 8 areas of life that you can see on the screen. There are personal growth, physical environment, family, finances, romance, health, fun and creation, and career. So you want to rate with your X or axis, because you want to be aware about your strategy, right? According to, that's what I said. So to what degree between 1 to 10, of course, 1 is the lowest one and 10 is the highest one. Do you feel compatible with your ex-partner, with your ex? And have a quick, explanation why you rate that. And the more you do that, the more you're aware about your motive, the more you're aware about your strategy in choosing partner, the more it's going to help you to decide whether you want to carry on doing that or you want to make some changes. Because without awareness, we cannot change. So that is the purpose of this exercise. So really taking the time to do it. And the final step is examine. So it's very funny that you see this picture of, I'm not sure if you recognize, but the woman here is Bridget Jones, and they are one of my favorite rom-com movie. And I think the first series was in nearly 2000s, and then they have 3 series and 1 upcoming series gonna come up in 2025. So anyway, the story here is she kind of like back and forth a relationship between Daniel Cleaver and Matt Darcy. So Daniel Cleaver, you might or you might not know, and if you haven't watched Bridget Jones, I strongly recommend check it out. Maybe for your Christmas, because it's very, very funny. So Daniel Cleaver is, very playful, very fun, very good with ladies. He's very gentleman, and he's a big liar, right? He's a big liar. He cheats on women. Versus Matt Darcy is a lawyer. He's serious. He responsible, but he's quite boring. So sometimes Bridget Jones, she back and forth between the relation with those 2 men, and she hurt herself because if she tried to be in a relationship with Daniel Cleaver or have one night stand, she knew for sure that on the following day or coming day, he gonna hurt her. But for whatever reason, like for the temptations of having fun, she hurt herself. So that story or analogy to helping you understand your motive or examine your relationship strategy. What do you like or tend to like versus what do you really need? Because what we tend to like sometimes doesn't really serve what do you really need for your long-term goals, your long-term vision, right? So it's so easy to give an exercise about diet, right? Like let's say in a very hot day in the summer, my fancy an ice cream, right? But we know for sure an ice cream is not healthy for you. And if someone have diabetes, if someone have issue about their health, their diet, eating an ice cream could hurt them. But for whatever reason, it's too hot, they don't really care, I'm gonna eat an ice cream. So that is kind of an example to back up about, sometime about what do you like, not always alignment with what do you really need and support you in your long-term goal and your vision. So the purpose of examining is to be aware about your relationship strategy, because I said we all have strategy to do things in life, and for you, you have strategy in choosing your partner, in how you show up in those relationships. But sometimes you're not aware, or you are not conscious about those motive. So I want you to taking the inventory to understand, okay, now I want to have a loving, a committed, lasting relationship, for example. So what do you really need in that, right? So this is very, quick exercise to do in this module of self-trust. But all of those information going to be very useful for you when you're moving on to the next module of self-identity. So what do you really need? Potentially you need emotional support, a man who have emotional available to support you on good days as well as on the bad days, right? You possibly want to have somebody, have a mutual respect to you, and you have respect them. They respect you, share similar values. You both committed to transparent communication and trust and commitment to each other, etc. Right? So really taking the time to assess what do you really need for your relationship, and then look back on your past strategies. What do you tend to like, right? Maybe you tend to drawn to someone have chemistry to you. That's what I heard from many women. Like, what are you looking for from a man? And many women tell me that, I'm looking for someone to have a great chemistry. And I just know, like, I just knew, like, if you want to have a loving, committed, and lasting relationship, and chemistry would be the first thing that you're drawn to, that might hurt you. Yeah, if you're lucky, you have a great chemistry with someone and they turn out to be very committed, share similar values, have mutual respect. That's amazing. But I would advocate that chemistry or emotional attachment, I would leave that towards the end, after you assess and after you're aware about if they share the similar values to you, if they have similar aspiration to the relationship that you want, if they someone, you know, committed to have a loving and committed relationship, and who about them, what their values, what their family backgrounds, and you can share about yourself, right? And other things, physical appearance might be, that's something nice to have, but it's not always necessary to support you for your relationship. And certain type careers, so on. So those are some of the suggestions for you to consider and examine your past strategy. Well, now you have discovered a transformational and practical tools for you to increase your confidence in choosing the future partner. I'm curious to know which one resonate with you, which one useful for you, and please remember to share your top 3 biggest lesson that you have learned from the past relationship, because as I shared earlier, those lessons could be valuable for many other people. And I do care about you. If you have a vision to have a beautiful, loving family, or if you have a vision to have a lasting, beautiful relationship, that vision given from the universe to you for the reason. So please share in the section below, and I'm going to see you in the next video. There or here.